last few games and in her senior season. Winning streaks on the line at Cameron Indoor. And Duke controls the opening tip. 15 straight for this Duke program that was the preseason number 7 team in the nation. But then you blinked and they were 3-6. It's going to be a turnover, and North Carolina will get their first possession. Well, for Courtney Bangok and her North Carolina crew, here are the starting 5. Want to note that Renaya Kelly once again will not be available for North Carolina. She is week to week with a lower body injury. How does that impact the Tar Heels?
Well, Renaya Kelly's experienced. She's experienced in this environment, in this rivalry. Not having her on the floor, not having another point guard is impactful. But this is a team in North Carolina that has played without her much of the season, so they know how to adjust.
And her last appearance coming on February 5th against Clemson. Ashlyn Jackson pulls up in the ACC logo and makes it go swish.
Duke can be really good in that two-man game, and Ashlyn Jackson loves to get to her spots. She's experienced. She understands what this rivalry is about.
She was one of the first to commit when Kara Lawson took over this Duke program. She believed inside to Nyla Harris. And the transfer from Louisville getting her first taste of UNC-Duke rivalry. Here's the Duke starting 5. You mentioned Ashlyn Jackson. Her and Taina Mayer, they were honored pregame for Senior Day.
Yeah, it's always an emotional time when you honor pregame for Senior Day right away. But Kara Lawson told us they're going to be fine. It's everybody else that might not be.
Ashlyn Jackson misses the 3. Salo dumping it off to Nyla Harris. There's some paint points for the Tar Heels.
And that's got to be a point of emphasis. If you're not going to score in transition, really try to get the ball inside. Put some pressure on Duke to defend the interior. Not a deep Duke team.
Yeah, Duke team that only gets about 16 points off their bench per game compared to 26 from the North Carolina bench. Riley Nelson has been so important in this winning streak.
And right away you see Duke an opportunity to get 3 different looks in the two-man game.
We'll stay on this end with North Carolina.
So first possession, weren't able to convert on the pocket pass, but saw that it was there. Second possession, Ashlyn Jackson gets a pull-up. Third possession, the rotation from the backside. Now we read what we call the shake-up, and you get an open 3.
Salo on the miss, and we stay with North Carolina. This Duke team's turned such a big corner, and those different possessions, I mean, we're seeing them evolve, how to read the game, how teams come out against them. They're adapting much better in games now.
There's no substitute for experience. They played a really tough schedule early on, have seen all different kinds of defenses, and now understand how to convert.
There's India Navarre with the finish.
India Navarre's improvement on the offensive end has been special to watch. I mean, she's somebody who improved her handle. She's always had the ability to get to the rim, and now she's able to finish and facilitate.
Well, she's averaging about 2 more points per game this season than last. But a player who carries such a big load, she's usually guarding the other team's best player. Lainey Grant at the free throw line, looking for Harris, got it there. Dumping it off to Navarre. Back inside to Toomey. Bounces off the back of the iron. Rebound by Fournier. Taina Mayer looking for a transition bucket from Delaney Thomas. And Kara Lawson told us they've got to get out and run, use transition.
Yeah, it's important to get some easy scores because North Carolina's a really solid defensive team. Kara Lawson doesn't want to have to play in the quarter court. And that was a tough catch and finish by Delaney Thomas. She had to catch in traffic, stay on balance without traveling, and finish.
She's one of their most consistent players. Kara Lawson says Delaney Thomas always playing to their standard. Toomey back up top to Arnie Salo. 2 seconds. Arnie Salo's got a hustle. Taina Mayer made that very difficult. Turnover in transition. And India Navarre stopped by Ashlyn Jackson. It'll stay with the heels. And Kara Lawson, we asked her, what have you learned about this group? She said they compete. And Stephanie, you and I got to call that Louisville game. Man, they started great.
They do. I mean, it's a team who, when they struggled early through the season, you could see they were going to play hard. They were going to compete. Their execution is a little bit better. They've got more experience now in terms of their young players on the court with one another. But that length, you cannot simulate their size and length on the perimeter and their versatility, so they can give a lot of different looks on the defensive end.
5 seconds. Arnie Salo with a little whip around, up and in. Delaney Thomas inside working on Toomey, spun around her.
Delaney Thomas has improved so much on the offensive end of the floor, have been a role player, didn't get a lot of opportunity to score, and you have seen her throughout the course of this season take more ownership of being a low block scorer.
She told us earlier in the season her favorite part of the game now, the energy plays, the effort plays.
And she's always been a glue type of player, and now her production is equaling those intangibles.
Pulls up at the free throw line. Rebound by Jackson.
I love the pace of this game so far. Getting up and down the floor, looking for advantages in transition, free flowing.
You never know how two defensive-minded teams are going to turn out. The last time these two teams met was in the Sweet 16, and it was a classic rock fight. The old 47-38 final. Ashlyn Jackson is fouled. Well, Duke up by a point. When we come back, Jess has more on what's changed for North Carolina over these last 8.
Create this unwanted domino effect for the next 15 and just play. In that team meeting, they also came up with this phrase, it's us, meaning it's not about anything else. Other opponents, other coaches, the refs, they have all the power within them. And since then, y'all, they have won 8 games straight, including a dub against their other in-state rival, than NC State, and an overtime win against Syracuse, which was huge because they lost their previous 2 overtime battles. And this proved to Nyla Harris and the team that they can close out tough games for them.
Yeah, Jess, it was so interesting to hear the players' perspective on that team meeting. And then we wanted to get Courtney Banghart's perspective. She said, look, I noticed the connectivity after the team meeting. She said, I changed too as a coach. I stopped obsessing over the little things. I let them celebrate the big moments and then also just focus on their all-around growth.
Yeah, focus on the game as a collective instead of minutia. And sometimes, you know, as a coach, you get so honed in on that. And, you know, you have to remind yourself, if you're Courtney Banghart and if you're this group, that there are a lot of young pieces. And there's no substitute for experience. You got to go through a growth process, and you got to give grace during that process.
This will be Duke basketball on the other end. Stephanie, having been, you know, on teams, been a coach of teams, that connectivity, how important is that, and where does it show up on the floor?
Hey, I think connected teams are winning teams, and I think that it's worth 10 to 12 points at least, but especially when you're going through battles and when you're going through tough times. If you can come together in those moments, it gives you opportunities for success. You might not always win the ball game, but you will put yourselves in position because of that.
Ashlyn Jackson misses the 3. Rebound by Arnie Salo. There's Lainey Grant looking for the triple. She's been really good from deep over this win streak. 47.6% from 3 last 8 games.
No, Lainey Grant, if you remember a year ago, an early enrollee, skipped her senior year of high school, graduated early. Now she's leaned on heavily on the offensive end, especially to stretch the floor. North Carolina has struggled away from the rim early in this ball game, and this is one of the few easy looks that they've been able to get, or open looks, I should say. And Lainey Grant able to capitalize. Toby Fournier in the drop coverage. The confidence of Lainey Grant to knock that down.
Courtney Banghart was at Lainey Grant's state championship game. She dropped a 40-piece and went like 14 of 15 from the free throw line. And Courtney told her mom, hey, you could help us right now. And 2 days later, she got a text and said, hey, she's going to graduate 1 year early. We're coming.
Right away, Duke Multiple turnovers early. You know, when you're talking about a rivalry matchup, when you're talking about a tight ball game, every possession, every opportunity matters. And 5 turnovers early in this one.
A Duke team that averages 15 turnovers a game. Fournier giving it up to Jackson. Mayer. The screen from Robertson. Mayer driving in the paint. And the blocking foul whistled against Thaisa Cueras.
It's a good read by Mayer. She slows down to see if the pocket might be there. The defender isn't anywhere to be found, and it's a good attack. And Kara Lawson's talked to us throughout the course of the season about the growth of Taina Mayer and how much ownership she's been able to hand over from, in terms of play calling especially, but also reads in the 2-man.
Jess, you were able to talk to Taina about, she had a conversation with Kara. How did that impact her? All right, we'll check in with Jess in just a minute. Taina means so much to this program. So important, those 2 veteran guards, Taina Mayer and Ashlyn Jackson for Duke. Salo up with one hand, left it short. Harris couldn't finish. Lainey Grant is going to save it in the coffin corner. And that's a travel on Nyla Harris.
Yeah, you got to go straight up with that one. And again, we're talking about possession games. You get multiple opportunities, offensive rebounds, 50-50 balls. You want to be able to capitalize.
Here comes Duke once again. They've started out hot offensively in this game. 4 of 8, 50% from the field to start. And that's without their leading scorer having a bucket. Beautiful from Riley Nelson.
I love the emergence of Riley Nelson and Ariana Robertson for this Duke program. 2 players who were injured last year, who worked their way back onto the court, back in the basketball-shaped basketball rhythm. And Nyla Brooks knocks down a 3.
That freshman can be real dangerous. A couple of games ago had a career-high 21 points against Wake. Cueras going coast to coast. Let's go!
Got to stop the ball in transition. That's a great read and take by Cueras.
Back the other end, Ariana Robertson is going to the free throw line.
Hey, you cannot have the person who shot the layup be the one to get back in transition defense. This is a great read. You get an over-rotation, nice spray 3 by Nyla Brooks and letting them know about it. And then Cueras in transition. The circus finish.
Jordan Wood will take a seat for Duke as Ariana Robertson, you mentioned being out with injury, 440 days. Ariana Robertson had to watch the game that she loves. Just get better and better every day. And Kara Lawson said about her growth and her potential, she could be a totally different player in 1 month. That's how much ceiling, how high the ceiling is for Ari.
Yeah, I mean, you look at her numbers, they certainly tell the story, and part of that's just getting back on the floor again, getting reacquainted with the rhythm and the timing and the pace and the spacing, and the other part is experience, right? And she's just a player who continues to grow and continues to get better. You love the opportunity for her and Fournier to be on the floor at the same time because of the way she can space the floor and stretch.
Fournier not out there right now, but they have gone to those 2 on the floor together more and more as the season has gone on. Nyla Harris trying to drive through some traffic and got around Riley Nelson. At the elbow.
That's going to be a problem. If you're going to play in drop coverage, the way that Riley Nelson, the way that Ashlyn Jackson can get to that pull-up.
Duke almost got it back. Meanwhile, on this end, North Carolina has hit its last 3 shots. That one just a little too much from Lainey Grant. Three ties, 10 lead changes in this opening quarter of this rivalry game. There lets the 3 fly. No. And nobody has possession as the time expires. How about that? Just a 1-point lead after 10 minutes. Duke and North Carolina with win streaks on the line. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. It's been a roller coaster of headlines for Duke this season. A team that went to the Elite Eight last year, was preseason number 7, but then started out 3-6. Turned that around quickly, currently on a 15-game winning streak, the longest since that 2012-13 season. Plus, they have won 20 straight games against ACC teams. Stephanie, what has changed? What's the biggest thing that stands out for Duke?
I think the biggest thing is that they've finally gotten to know one another. I mean, this is a team that struggled with a tough schedule. And when you think about putting yourself in a situation against tough opponents early, it exposes your weaknesses. And they've learned from those weaknesses. They've continued to grow from those weaknesses. We talked about the growth of Riley Nelson and Ariana Robertson, who were just getting back on the floor. Delaney Thomas has emerged as a go-to double-figure scorer for this team. When every scouting report early was focused on Toby Fournier, everybody else elevated, and now they're a well-balanced team on both ends of the floor.
The first of 2 meetings this season between these 2 heated rivals. Up and in for Nyla Harris.
And this is exactly what North Carolina has to do. Continue to try to get looks in the paint. 12-6 advantage points in the paint.
They average about 37 points per game in the paint. Toby Fournier, that's her 2nd shot attempt of this game, and it comes out.
And I like the call and try to get Toby Fournier going. She has not been a factor early in this ballgame.
Played 7 minutes in that first quarter. She's their leading scorer and rebounder and shot blocker.
Yeah, it's a tough defensive play right there. And this is another growth area for Toby Fournier, the discipline. Look at how she contests straight up, as opposed to a year ago when she would come down on that. You know, her being available, being on the floor, not being in foul trouble is critical for this Duke Blue Devil team.
Thomas, the kick back out. Arnie Salo, guarded by Taina Mayer.
What a great defensive possession.
3 seconds. India Navarre can't float it up. Rebound by Fournier.
That's an outstanding defensive possession for Duke.
Little home bounce for T. I think that hit everything. The backboard, all sides of the rim.
She's got that touch right there.
It is senior day.
Little senior day.
Yeah. Nyla Brooks in the corner, no. Thomas flew to the boards. Pivoting around. It's going to be a foul on Nyla Harris of North Carolina.
This is an excellent defensive possession by Duke. Everybody one-on-one, nobody overhelping. Great job of getting out and really hard hedging by Delaney Thomas in the 2-man. Arnie Sala's off balance. North Carolina scrambling at the end of a shot clock.
It's a Duke program, really both programs that have been built on defense, but Kara Lawson came in with that as the foundation for this Duke program, and now their offense has taken a step up this year.
Every year that Kara Lawson has been here, the offense has continued to get better, and that helps when you get All-Americans, right? When you get players that can come in and that can play to your system.
4 seconds, Jackson, short. Brooks bringing it up the floor for the Tar Heels.
And look at the activity level by Duke. See where North Carolina's running their offense way beyond the 3-point line. Not just on-ball activity, but off-ball activity as well.
Arnie Salo going around the screen. Delaney Thomas picks her up. They throw it inside off the fingertips of Thomas, and that's going to be a foul on Toby Fournier. Her first. But look at the previous 4 seasons. Remember, we don't count the 2020-21 season because the Duke only played 4 games offensively compared to this season. So first 4 compared to this season.
Yeah, I mean, every year that Kara Lawson has been able to bring in players who play to the system that she wants to play on the offensive end of the floor. Look, you lay the foundation on the defensive end of the floor. That's effort. Certainly is part of that's execution as well. But offensively, getting more talent, giving them more opportunity to make plays in system, and this group has really taken it to another level.
Right now, defensively, they're taking it to another level. It's been late in the shot clock. Last several possessions for North Carolina on offense. Ashley Jackson going. Senior to senior. Well, if you're loving this game, don't worry. We've got more basketball coming up for you. Madison Booker in Texas taking on Tennessee in Knoxville, also available on the ESPN app. Stephanie, those are 2 teams that within the last 7 days have both been challenged by their head coaches.
They absolutely have. And which teams are going to come together? Which teams are going to rise to that challenge? Right now, it's about continuing to put yourself in the position to be playing your best basketball in March.
It's coming up after we finish here at Cameron Indoor. Toby Fournier with the basketball. She's only taken 2 shots. And a foul as Tiana Mayer was going in.
That was a missed opportunity for North Carolina. You get Duke to take the shot that they want, which is Delaney Thomas around that 15-foot area. You got to box and finish that play. You can't just run to the glass.
It's going to be the first against Arnie Salo of North Carolina. Three ties, 13 lead changes in this game so far. The catch, the shoot. Yep. Riley Nelson.
I think Riley Nelson is going to be a problem. I mean, her length, 6'2", long wingspan, ability to elevate. India Navarre knocks it down.
Toby Fournier is short on the 3.
And that's probably not the shot you want if you're Kara Lawson for Toby Fournier. She's trying to find her way in this ballgame.
Fournier has not scored. Toomey working on Fournier. And a foul against Duke. It's against Delaney Thomas.
Good execution on the out-of-bounds play. Riley Nelson, she gets every part of that rim and gets the friendly roll. And then India Navarre with the answer from the three-point line on the other end.
North Carolina 3 of 5 from behind the arc in this game. Oh goodness, Nyla Brooks was just by herself in the paint.
And North Carolina taking advantage when they have uncontested opportunities, field goal percentage high, and the contested ones struggling a little bit. So if you're the Blue Devils, you don't want to have those lapses or those breakdowns. And if you're Carolina, the point of execution, great screen setting right here. Double screens, there's a miscommunication in the switch, and you get a high percentage look.
16 paint points for North Carolina compared to just 6 for Duke. Brooks trying the outside look. Toomey's got the glass. Guerraz working on Fournier around her. Largest lead for Carolina. Robertson misses Fournier. Shut down by Toomey. Seconds for Mayer. Mayer step back.
home court role. But playmaking, you know, this is the growth of this team. When things break down and you don't have it in your offense, who can make a play?
Fournier just stopped that basketball. Great pass it over to Toomey. Robertson stepping into the three.
Robertson now 8 of 19 from the three-point line in ACC play. Again, her ability at 6'4", 6'8" wingspan to play inside out, stretch the defense, feel very comfortable in the offense at this point.
Kara Lawson has challenged Robertson for consistency and performance, but wants to see her have those double-doubles, those big games against ranked opponents. This is a great opportunity. North Carolina in the lead in a tightly contested contest. Stupid, how did that happen? That's so fast. 4 weeks. We'll hear Selection Sunday. This is the first of 2 meetings between these two rivals, and North Carolina with the advantage right now. You heard Megan mention Toby Fournier. During this win streak, Stephanie, she's averaged 19 points per game, shooting 57% from the field, but hasn't scored 0 for 4 today.
And really hasn't gotten a clean look. She had 1 ISO from the free throw line. Hasn't gotten a clean look. The North Carolina game plan trying to make it difficult on her on the interior. You see just the swarm, 3 light blue jerseys right there.
Nyla Harris left it short. But it stays on this end with North Carolina. North Carolina has won 8 in a row. Duke has won 15 in a row. India Navarre looking for somebody. Toomey. Right over Robertson.
Well, it's been a point of emphasis for North Carolina to pound it inside and go to work. That's 22 points in the paint, 11 of which their shots have been layups. So they're getting into that restricted area and knocking them down.
They're about 10 paint points away from their season average. Fournier getting all kinds of attention.
Forcing these Duke bigs to play one-on-one. Great job, Sierra Toomey, staying patient, staying poised, and knocking it down.
Toomey whistled for the foul. It sends Toby Fournier to the free throw line. Just a 52% free throw shooter on the year. Well, what a big Monday doubleheader we have for you on ESPN and the app. 4th-ranked Duke hosting Syracuse here at Cameron Indoor at 7 Eastern. Then a matchup of the night between Houston and Iowa State. A top 5 battle that's coming up tomorrow. Cooper Flagg watching on. Knows a thing or two about tearing it up at Cameron Indoor.
Got a little all-star break, reprieve, and coming back to Cameron.
Robertson trying to pivot her way up. Taina Mayer second chance. The kick out to Jordan Wood. Navarre elbow.
There you go.
Fournier in transition and the foul.
Elite rim runner, and you could see the burst, the change of speed. It started at the three-point line on the opposite end. She got a clean catch. She's able to finish in transition, and another opportunity at the foul line. She just needs a couple of those. Needs a couple of easy ones to get it going.
That was her first field goal of the game. Got the three-point play. She's 2 for 3 from the free throw line. (10-2) run for Duke. North Carolina led by as many as 6. Arnie Salo, the swing over to Grant. Second opportunity for the Heels. Nyla Harris taking her time on Robertson. All covered up. Arnie Salo. I think it was tipped by Jordan Wood. Jordan Wood in the corner. Got it!
That was a great extra pass by Mayer. And you can see the pace that Duke wants to play with. Bring it down the floor, find the open player.
Largest lead for Duke. Salo in trouble now, 6 seconds. Step back won't go. Robertson rips down the board. Ashlyn Jackson. Ari Robertson short. Toomey rebound. Between the shot clock and the game clock. Arnie Salo getting the call from Courtney Banghart. It is a 10-0 run right now for Duke. Pulls up at the elbow too much. Mayer strips it. She's got time to cook. Jordan Wood. My goodness. Jordan Wood.
This is what she does. This is what she knocked Carolina in the mouth heading into halftime.
Okay, only down 8 though, North Carolina is. So what's got to be different?
Well, they got to get some looks on the offensive end. I thought they did a really good job when they were able to pound it inside. And if you're not turning it over, if you're not taking long shots that lead to runouts, so transition defense was obviously a challenge. They got to lock it down on the defensive end and guard the three-point line.
1 half left to decide who wins this rivalry game. They will play again on March 1st to end the regular season. Tiana Mayer trying to hit Fournier on the pick and roll. Just 1 field goal made in the first half for Fournier, who's Duke's leading scorer. Most of Carolina's points today have come in the paint. 22 paint points as Toomey spins in the paint. Rebound by Ashlyn Jackson. Mayer back to Riley Nelson. Better angle to get it inside to Fournier. Toby Fournier, her second field goal. Duke adding to its largest lead. Meanwhile, North Carolina ended the first half on a 3+ minute scoring drought. That's continuing now. No Renaya Kelly once again for North Carolina. She's week to week with a lower body injury. Puts more responsibility on India Navarre. She's feeding Toomey. Navarre lets it fly and leaves it short. Harris trying to get the rebound. Foul on the floor. Last 8 meetings between these two teams, very interesting. The average margin of victory, 7 points. Both teams with fewer than 70 points in each of those games, and the winner has scored less than 50 points in 4 of the last 8 games. I think we're going to make 50.
Yeah. Well, we better make 50.
That's exciting.
We better make 50. No, I like the pace of this ball game. And of course, early in the third already, we've seen quite a few whistles, a little bit more disruption. But this is what you expect in a rivalry matchup, and I would expect that Courtney Banghart challenged her team to play with a little bit more force on the defensive end of the floor, to be a little bit more disruptive.
That's a foul on Tiana Mayer. You know, Courtney Banghart told us that, Kara Lawson, very upset. Banghart told us she's been harder on this team than any others because there was so much new to this group coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is a group, 5 freshmen, 6 sophomores, 2 juniors, 2 seniors, so there is a lot of new. You got even some of the upperclassmen have transferred in, so really challenging this team to be better. It's a team that's gotten better as the season has progressed.
Navarre stole that away from Ashlyn Jackson. Can't finish the bucket, and a foul whistled.
This is good hands by India Navarre. Second in the ACC to Hannah Hidalgo in steals, able to get in transition, but not able to convert. And that's one of those, if you're India Navarre, go into the defender. Up in this ball game already, North Carolina has not attempted a foul shot. They've had a lot of points in the paint, but they have not really pressured Duke to defend off the bounce without fouling.
That foul on Sierra Toomey was her second. Nyla Harris, the kick out to Arnie Salo up ahead. The Toomey running, just overshoots her.
Yeah, and Courtney Banghart telling Arnie Salo, you got to look at your skip. You got to see the whole floor. Possessions matter. And when you're playing a team like Duke, you can't afford to have multiple empty possessions in a row.
Carolina still has not scored in the third quarter. Picked mid-air by Toomey. Arnie Solo doesn't have any help. Eleni Grant threw that between the legs of Nyla Harris. I think Courtney Bankhart's asking about a play on the other end. Talking to Katie Lukanich, one of our officials. Do we play on here? Duke on a 15-0 run, leading back to that second quarter. Ashlyn Jackson. Nope. Fournier got it back, but threw it to Grant. ACC logo, first bucket and a half for North Carolina. That ends an almost 6-minute scoring drought.
And if you're North Carolina, you want to string a couple stops together, but you got to be able to get opportunities at the other end when you do that. Duke right now doing a great job of reading in this pick and roll.
Fournier, O-board. 2 offensive boards taken away by Navarre. Toomey on the trail. Ashlyn Jackson turned it over. Turnovers were a problem for Duke in the first quarter. They had 4.
Nice read.
Inside to Nyla Harris.
Yeah, I think Nyla Harris and India Navarre really have to start to take over this game on the offensive end of the floor. Decision-making, positioning, finishing. They are the most experienced players on the floor right now.
Nyla Harris has talked to us about how transferring from Louisville, all of her North Carolina teammates reached out to her. We need her. We trust you. We rely on you. And you can see that trust in this last play.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good read right here. India Navarre knows she can see it before she gets the basketball. Great job, Nyla Harris, walking Delaney Thomas up the line, and that pass on time, on target. But those two are the most experienced, and even though Nyla Harris isn't experienced at Carolina, she's experienced in this league. She understands what it takes.
3 seasons at Louisville before becoming a North Carolina Tar Heel. Riley Nelson's just going to take the paint and got her shot blocked. Oh, got a foul by Sierra Toomey. That's her 3rd.
Riley Nelson again. She's been so good in the pull-up game, and that time goes all the way to the rim. Sierra Toomey right across the arm.
Puts Riley Nelson at the charity stripe. It's the first this Thursday night ESPN's doubleheader, highlighted by 3 top 15 teams. It's Duke and NC State at 7 Eastern, followed by 6th-ranked LSU taking on Ole Miss, like everything else, both available on the ESPN app. That LSU South Carolina game last night was absolutely incredible. The environment in Baton Rouge totally lit. South Carolina coming away with the narrow win. That rivalry has become very fun and a little heated. I like it.
The SEC in general heated.
Yep. Foul on the floor against Lainey Grant.
Yeah, you're going to get Lainey Grant on that one, trying to box out Ariana Robertson while she was in the air.
Second on Grant. Scoring drought here for Duke. No field goals in the last 4 minutes. Riley Nelson fixes that.
North Carolina just not being disruptive enough on the defensive end. Duke is getting the players and the ball anywhere that they want to in rhythm.
Solo way up high for Cuero. And up and in for North Carolina. Toomey in double figures with 10. And out there with 3 personals. North Carolina ball.
Riley Nelson's been a big spark in the third. Great job of attacking. That's a tough finish with a good contest. And on the other end, North Carolina continuing there in the paint. Sierra Toomey.
So the top 16 reveal by the selection committee came out yesterday. This was as of entering yesterday's games. An interesting note, just moments ago, Vanderbilt actually lost to Georgia by a couple of points.
They did. Danny Carnegie, great for Georgia, 29 points and 8 rebounds, and how that impacts Vanderbilt. A couple of big wins against Oklahoma and Texas, and now a loss to Georgia, how that impacts the seeding. I mean, there's so much yet to be played in the month of February, but every game impactful.
This is an important one, big picture-wise, plus in the ACC. Duke was the number 10 overall team in that top 16 revealed, so they're a 3 seed. Right now, North Carolina projected to be a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. Up and in for Arnie Salo. And important to note, too, we're going to have a couple of more NCAA Selection Committee reveals. The next one will be on March 1st, and then there'll be an alphabetical reveal for the first time on March 14th. So not in the top 1 through 16 order.
Are they just trying to confuse us all?
I think they're trying to build some more drama for Selection Sunday. The next day.
The next day, yes, it's coming up. Home stretch right here for North Carolina. See if they can get any rhythm on the offensive end.
All of their points here in the third quarter have come in the paint.
And it's been their point of emphasis. When they've gotten it there, they've been able to find some success. But again, you see a lot of youth on the floor for North Carolina. It's going to be important to get India Navarre and Nyla Harris back out there quickly. And Carolina gives this look. They play this 3-2 or 1-2-2 zone just to give a little different look.
They wave off the bucket. No basket. The foul happened before that. And that's on Nyla Brooks of North Carolina. Now India Navarre back on the floor. As Brooks will take a seat, picking up her first foul, and Taina Mayer is at the free throw line. Taina Mayer at the free throw line. Carol Lawson had a pretty direct conversation with Taina Mayer, Jess, in the offseason.
She did, and T told me that last year there were so many mouths to feed, and she loved doing what her team needed. But at the end of the season, they did have that difficult conversation, Coach Lawson and herself, because she wanted her to be more all across the board. So that's what she focused on all summer. She was super aggressive, making sure she could finish on 2 feet and doing all of the little things, which is really evidenced by her 2.5 steals per game. But it's just really impressive, Courtney, that she's averaging more than 4 shots per game from last year, and she's still able to dish out even more assists. So it's really incredible. She's improved across the board.
Yeah, the scoring was a big thing for her, Jess. She's averaging about 5 more points per game. And this is a player that was not a top 100 recruit coming out of high school. That's been the impact she's had on Duke is astronomical.
Yeah, T. Mayer out of high school went to Boston College, had a great freshman year there, and she entered the transfer portal. And Carol Lawson said at the time, we didn't have a point guard and we needed one. And she came in and made an impact. She's talked to us throughout the course of the season. Carol Lawson has about the growth of Mayer in that position, allowing her to give her more freedom, understanding what they need to run, who they need to get the ball to, and now this year taking more ownership of scoring the basketball.
She told us too, this is senior day, by the way, for Taina Mayer and Ashlyn Jackson, who just hit both of those free throws. Taina Mayer stands really close to Carol Lawson every time they circle up. She said at first it was a little shocking, but over these last 3 years, she's really going to miss it when Taina Mayer's not right next to her when they huddle up. Great try to get it over to Toomey. Robertson making it difficult. India Navarre got a look.
That's a big one for Carolina. Duke playing really good defense, nothing coming easy. Making a play at the low shot clock.
Drilled it. Robertson.
It's fun as a coach to watch a team start to come into their own. Shots that they might not have taken in the non-conference, big decisions that they might not have made, clarity in execution. It's just, this is a Duke team that has continued to gain confidence throughout the course of the year.
Arnie Salo, a little underhanded scoop. Now North Carolina's hit its last 7 shots. You could say the same for this North Carolina team. They have been through some stuff. They're a young team, and you're seeing that confidence in them come together, too.
Well, and it hasn't been pretty for a lot of the night, and they just hang in there, right there. An easy opportunity for Sierra Toomey. You hang in there, you give yourself a chance, you show your resilience. Now you string a couple stops together, make some runs of your own.
8 straight made field goals, the run for North Carolina. They've trailed by as many as 10. Mayer. It's a 2 from Robertson. No. And it's too easy. That's wide open shots in the paint the last couple of possessions.
North Carolina doing a great job of now a little bit more resistance on the defensive end, forcing jump shots, finishing plays with rebounds. And remember, Sierra Toomey, and I think she's been really critical on the defensive end these last few possessions, still playing with those 3 fouls.
Jackson pulls back 2 seconds on the shot clock. Just chucked that up and it worked.
That's a big-time shot by Ashlyn Jackson. Low clock, highly contested, off balance. North Carolina Tar Heels making a run of their own to close the gap. Aggressive to the rim, Arnie Sala gets an easy 2, and then just in transition, strung a couple of stops together. Sierra Toomey gets the open layup. Laney Grant head up, finds India Navarre to get an open layup. This is what you expect in a rivalry matchup.
And North Carolina not hanging their heads after they gave up the most points they've allowed in a first half this season. There's a lot on the line besides pride. North Carolina looking for its longest ACC win streak since the 07-08 season. And meanwhile, Duke's won 15 in a row. They're trying to make it 16 in a row, which would tie their longest streak since 2013. Duke up by 4 to start the final period. They are 16-0 when they lead through 3 quarters. North Carolina's hit its last 9 shots. India Navarre. The dump off to Toomey. She's been so critical. Offensively and defensively.
Sierra Toomey has had the matchup with Toby Fournier most of this ball game, has kept her in check, has been playing with foul trouble, and has been a go-to on the offensive end.
Talina Mayer misses Delaney Thomas, ripping it away, getting out of traffic. I mentioned Fournier, just 6 points today. She averages 18.
Oh, great cut.
Hit 10 in a row. A North Carolina team that doesn't have Renaya Kelly. They're relying on Arnie Salo and India Navarre to handle the ball.
Nice.
Toomey's got to finish those.
Yeah, gotta finish those. Gotta finish those. North Carolina that withstood a big run into the halftime and out of the third quarter. What they've done is they've been a little bit more resistant on the defensive end. You see the level of physicality, the intensity, the activity level, and the defense has been what has carried them throughout this 8-game win streak.
Program takes a lot of pride on their defense. One of the best defenses in the ACC. Both of these teams are tops in the conference in defense.
Every time Duke needs a bucket, Ashlyn Jackson puts them on her shoulders. We've seen it time and time again throughout the course of the year. Momentum-changing buckets, momentum-stopping buckets. Ashlyn Jackson steps up.
Lainey Grant responds.
Lainey Grant's one for Carolina. She's got to find herself involved a little bit more on the offensive end.
She's shooting almost 48% from 3 during this 8-game win streak.
Ashlyn Jackson, good job of reading. The defender goes under, just pulls back from behind the 3. Yes, kiss to the crowd. And then execution, again, a miscommunication on the switch, and Lainey Grant knocks it home.
Thought for a second we might get into a shootout there, but we didn't.
We still got time.
You always wondered coming into this game, you know, how were the offenses going to fare against these two defensive-minded programs?
Well, the pace has helped. I mean, both teams getting up and down the floor, not settling into just playing in the quarter court.
India Navarre, no. Nyla Harris on the glass. Arnie Salo. Whistled for the foul. Her first. North Carolina hasn't shot any free throws in this game. Something to keep an eye on.
And they've done a really good job of post-entry passes in the paint. Haven't gotten a lot of opportunities on attacks off of the dribble. But you got to go into defenders. Every time you fade away, you're avoiding contact.
And Lenny Grant stepped out of bounds. Win streaks on the line for both of these teams. Duke has won 15 in a row. North Carolina has won 8 in a row. There's a kickball off of the heels. I mean, I think it went off a toe.
I saw what you did there, yeah.
I think it went off a toe, but it was off a toe heel. Toby Fournier back in the ballgame. She's got 10 rebounds, but 6 points, 2 of 8 from the field. It's become a 3-shooting contest. Seconds, Mayer hits the gas, has the bucket.
Mayer's been really good in the two-man.
Ashlyn Jackson with the steal over to Thomas. Didn't rush. There's going to be a foul away from the ball on Riley Nelson.
Taina Mears, great read again off of the two-man. The little in and out, the pocket isn't there. You get the big to bite. Then she gets to the rim. Long pass. Ashlyn Jackson reads it perfectly.
Sala left it hanging on the rim. It's been over 2 minutes without points for North Carolina. They had hit 10 straight field goals. Now the Brooks. She's got time to operate. That's going to be an offensive foul on India Navarre, and she just got teed up for slamming the ball down. Well, here's the Thursday night women's basketball doubleheader on ACC Network and the ESPN app. This North Carolina team's going to take on Virginia Tech at 6 Eastern, and then Miami hosting Stanford. That's coming up on Thursday. We want to take you back to this last play. India Navarre called for the offensive foul, then slams the ball and gets the technical. So just like that, she's got 4 personal fouls.
Yeah, she was frustrated with herself. I know she was saying that to Mai Forsberg as well. But in these moments, having her experience on the floor is imperative, and she knew it right away.
Ashlyn Jackson at the free throw line shooting the 2 for Duke. Duke is led by as many as 10. North Carolina is led by as many as 6. First meeting between these two since the Sweet 16 last year when Duke won. In fact, Duke's won the last 2 meetings.
And now Duke with a plus 16 advantage at the free throw line. North Carolina still has yet to get there.
16 for 17 afternoon from the charity stripe for the Blue Devils. Duke used a 13-0 run right before the half to grab momentum in this ball game. Toby Fournier back out to Riley Nelson. That's on Nyla Brooks, her second.
Well, Delaney Thomas just spins right off of Nyla Brooks. They both go up for it, but you can see Brooks underneath the clamp.
Jackson got open in the corner. Riley Nelson saved it. Jackson's got it. And you see India Navarre has the guard on Ashton Jackson. Remember, Navarre's out there with 4 fouls. Mayer missed. Fournier. They're going to call it held ball. Possession arrow, Duke.
And a couple of possessions where North Carolina has gotten Duke to take contested jumpers. They've missed them, but they have not been able to secure the defensive board. When you're playing from behind, when you're playing on the road, all of those possessions matter.
Fournier's fouled by Toomey. And that's 4 on Sierra Toomey.
Toby Fournier is so good when she gets in the elbow area, attacking the paint. And she's had a quiet night thus far, but saw the advantage and took it.
6 points, 12 rebounds for Toby Fournier. During this win streak for Duke, she's averaged even higher than that season average. She's averaged 19.4 points per game. Just the second free throw that Duke has missed today. Missed them both. Now Brooks got open. They're going to get Toby Fournier on the whistle as Toomey was going to the glass. Third on Fournier.
I guess the hand on the forearm. It was a light foul.
The box stopped by Delaney Thomas.
That's great D.
Just built a wall. Oh, at the buzzer.
Tough shot.
Cueros.
Got to get a stop now if you're North Carolina. Inside of 3 minutes, 4-point ball game. Really got to lock in. Finish plays.
Duke has missed its last 4 shots. Fournier off of 1 foot. No. There's the stop North Carolina wants. Solo trying to break down. Mayer just picked her bucket. The takeaway, the bucket for Team Mayer.
Outstanding scout defense by Mayer. Was not going to allow Artisala to go to the right hand. Stayed disciplined and true. And those are plays that Kara Lawson talks about. Understanding scout report defense, execution of scouting report defense.
Sneaking underneath the basket, Thaisa Cueros. Carolina's most of their production has come in the paint. 46 paint points tonight. Toomey looking for help. Nyla Brooks comes to the basketball. And Courtney Banghart's going to call a timeout. North Carolina to go in this rivalry. For North Carolina and Duke. Duke up 4 right now, and North Carolina just called a timeout. Where are you thinking, Steph?
I think they're going to go inside. I mean, they've done a really good job when they've gotten 2 feet in the paint. You see the difference in the paint points right there, but you got to get a score, and then you got to get a stop.
Seconds on the shot clock. Nyla Brooks with the basketball over to Arnie Salo at the ACC. Logo bounces off the back of the iron.
That's great defense by Duke. You force a contested jumper. You finish the play with the defensive board.
Down 4. When do you start fouling?
I think they can still play this one out right here, but you got to get a score in transition, and then you got to come back ready to foul. You've got plenty of timeouts.
Any foul puts Duke at the free throw line. Oh, beautiful delay. Thomas to the rack. Now North Carolina's got to go. All right, Salo lost the basketball. Stays on this end.
It's good hands by Mayer. But again, Ashlyn Jackson making a play in the 2-man. You draw multiple defenders. Arnie Sala didn't know whether to go out or to stay home. This is the perfect read by Ashlyn Jackson.
Duke trying to extend a 15-game winning streak.
You gotta go if you're Carolina.
Just like that, Nyla Brooks with a triple, and Courtney Banghart is going to call timeout. 15.3 on the clock. Duke up 3, and North Carolina just called this timeout. So Kara Lawson and Duke will have to call another one to advance the basketball.
Yeah, Kara Lawson just did that, and so that was, curious whether she was going to try to take it out in the full court or using the timeout now to advance it to get it in the front court. And if you're North Carolina, high level of activity on the ball, you want to try to get a 5-second call. Maybe a quick trap, but I say foul right away. I mean, it's a young team. They're learning how to play through this. And if you're Duke, you've got plenty of timeouts. If you don't like what you see, inbounding the basketball, use one. But you got to be strong with the basketball. You got to be hard on your cuts. You got to be disciplined on your screens.
Any foul by North Carolina will put Duke at the free throw line. And they're only shooting 84% from the free throw line today. Well, 16 of 19.
And a team that shoots at 67% on the season. So doing a great job of knocking them down.
Riley Nelson will inbound for Duke. Into Ashlyn Jackson. Riley Salo's got a foul. Going after the ball, Courtney Banghart asking her to foul. Finally, that stops the clock with 8.1.
Time and score. I mean, it's time and score. Just way too much time running off the clock right here. Good job of making it difficult right there. You got a foul. You cannot allow her that many dribbles. You don't get a hand on it early. And Ashlyn Jackson just dribbling out the clock.
And that was India Navar's 5th foul. It's Ashlyn Jackson, who is their best free throw shooter, 86.5% from the charity stripe.
There you go, announcer Jinx.
I know,
always.
I'll take the blame for it. She was 6 for 6 today. Until I said it out loud. And now North Carolina will take the timeout. They can advance the basketball. 8.1 on the clock, but down 4.
Yeah, it's still a 2-possession game, so I think you just get a quick score. And whatever you have, they can give you either a direct entry or an aggressive rip and go to the rim, put pressure on this Duke defense. But you just got to get a quick score and a foul right away. And I would anticipate, Kara Lawson using that length, probably switching everything, using that versatility, have a big on the ball, make it difficult. You want to force Carolina to inbound away from their rim.
Well, besides pride and the rivalry that's at stake, North Carolina is trying to get their longest conference win streak since 07-08. Meanwhile, Duke has won 15 straight. They haven't lost since December 4th against LSU, and they've got a 4-point lead right now. Duke offensively took control in this ball game. In that second quarter, they went into the locker room on a 13-0 run, got some big production off of their bench. 2 between these two this season. They will meet again on March 1st to close out the regular season right before the ACC tournament.
You see Toby Fournier using that length on the ball.
They got to go. Got to get the ball in first. Arnisala, deep 3, misses. And a scramble for the basketball. Toby Fournier was down on the floor. It stays with the Heels, 2.5. And Courtney Banghart trying to get a timeout. That'll be her last one. How'd you feel about this look?
I thought they got a good look. I mean, right here, you want to make sure you understand that you've got timeouts if you don't get the ball in bounds. We're able to finally get a good look. It didn't go in. Toomey just could not corral it. And how about Toby Fournier? Fortuitous that she was on the floor to be able to tie that ball up. But now 2.5 seconds. Again, if you're North Carolina, quick score, you got to know that you're fouling. And if you're Duke, you just want to play good position defense. It's a 2-possession ball game. Don't need any opportunities for North Carolina to score with no time running off with a foul.
So now they'll inbound underneath the basket. Duke has put Robertson on the ball now, using her length. He's got a 6'8" wingspan. Grant trying to get open. And through to Ashlyn Jackson. The streak continues for the Blue Devils. 16 straight wins. This one might feel the sweetest against your rival.
Absolutely, and the way that Duke was able to do it, take control of the ball game, answer runs in the second half, and again, this team starting to grow into what they've become throughout the season and finding different ways to win. And big-time performances off the bench, which you have to have. And Ashlyn Jackson and Taina Mayer, a sweet one on senior day.
17 points off the bench for Duke. That's right at their season average. That was really important in the first half. But yeah, Taina Mayer, outfitting. Taina Mayer and Ashlyn Jackson both with 14 apiece on their senior day. These two have been so important in this turnaround. A Duke program that started the season 3-6. Now hasn't lost since December 4th.